Welcome back to Kaulignation, your one-stop shop for all things Kaulig Racing, Dingernation, SVGNation, soon to be NASCAR Nation on YouTube. I'm joined as always by Ryan on the heels of a Atlanta race weekend. Man, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. That was disappointing, to say the least. I think we were all jonesing for some good racing this week after, I guess, the disappointment of Daytona. And I don't think we got it. Either of the series, really. I was pretty disappointed. So at the end of the day, I'm glad we're getting out of the super speedways. We're going to a road course. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they didn't take some of the skill out of that road course, though, heading into this year. But that'll be for another video, hopefully, that we'll get time to do later this week. So, we're going to focus on Atlanta in the Cup Series. If you haven't yet, please like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all. Really helps the channel out, helps us battle the algorithm. Did you guys out there think that the Atlanta race weekend was a good race? Whether it's Xfinity or the Cup Series, let us know in the comment section down below how you feel about that. Simple yay or nay even gives us an idea how you guys and gals felt out there. But we're going to focus in this video on the good and the bad of Atlanta. And I was watching your X or Twitter review of the race, and it's the last thing I actually did before going to bed last night. And I thought you were fairly spot on. Thought maybe you were a tad generous on your review of how Allmendinger was running. To put it simply, the cars were garbage, and the package was garbage. And I had made the reference to you. It reminded me of when I'd be on iRacing, and I'd go to a track that I just cannot get the hang of, or haven't practiced enough, and I'm going up against a bunch of guys who that's all they've done all week. And I'm only gaining spots by the people that are wrecking out of the race. Other than that, I might gain a spot or two. Like AJ was a 30th place car or worse in that race. If you look at, and I watched every lap of that race, I thought that race was miles better than the Xfinity cars run there, but still, I think there's improvements that need to be made. Like he's the, somewhere between the second last car in line running to the fourth or fifth last car in line running, and never any better after that initial run where he started 12th. We were in our staff chat, which was buzzing on the weekend, and we kept hoping that they'd be able to figure it out. And for me, they got to around the halfway point. I'm just like, this isn't an issue that they're fixing at the racetrack. This is another Kaulig case of they brought the wrong car to the track, not intentionally, obviously, but that what they brought to the track was not good enough. And the closing remarks on AJ's video or radio summed it up. You had his crew chief, Trent Owens, say, yeah, I think we need to rethink this package. It was as bad as I have seen AJ run in NASCAR on an oval since he was in a Red Bull car. I don't know any other way to sum it up than that.
And that's saying something. I don't know. The Red Bull days were bad. So
there might have been some weekends in the 51 that he ran because he was there for a little bit too, where it wasn't great. But
I actually understood in the Phoenix cars, though. That thing was way underfunded. Yeah, I mean, listen, I have a few thoughts on this. We didn't get to see how he really ran in the Daytona 500. He ran well in the duel. Honestly, both cars ran well in the duel at the Daytona 500. And Ty raced pretty well in the actual, 500. So I was really expecting more from the package coming from Daytona to Atlanta. Pretty clear that they are very different tracks, and we saw that in the racing, and that's why I said the Atlanta race, all things considered, was much better product. Handling actually matters at Atlanta based off the configuration. And it was clear that whatever they had did not work at Atlanta. And I don't know if this is a difference in the crew chief or if they just missed the boat. In years past, we've always said AJ and the Kaulig cars in general never had good straight line speed, but they seem to handle really well. And that's allowed them to be competitive in all of the super speedway races, I would say for the last 3 or 4 years. Clearly not the case this weekend. And again, I don't know if that's maybe just how Trent Owens sets up a car versus who he worked with in the past, or if it's just a new package altogether. But clearly something changed there, because they actually had decent single car speed. He qualified 12th. He qualified pretty well for the 500 as well. He did get the fastest lap of the race. I mean, I know that's a very token thing, but it's still the point that they got. So it's clear that the straight line speed, single lap speed was there, but man, it did not handle well. So over the course of the race, you're right. He got back in the 30th position and he was just jockeying with the same 4 or 5 cars every single lap. He would go forward a couple spots, go back a couple spots, and they just couldn't make any progress. So that was really disappointing for sure. I was also hoping that maybe it was a track position thing. When he had it early in the race, he held a top 20s position for that stage. That he got that track position for stage 3. I think he was running as high as 6 there for a very short period of time, and then just fell like a rock. Every car was able just to go right around him on the outside, and he just went straight to the back. So it was clear that they just missed the boat. It was really disappointing. No way around it. It was a bad performance for the Kaulig cars. I know we're not really talking about Ty Dillon, but he wasn't much better before he blew a tire. So hopefully when they come back in the summer, they bring a different package. But I will say this is my glass half full side. They at least finished the race. They stayed out of the carnage. They brought it home 14th. Earned or not, they brought it home top 15. They got much, much needed points. After finishing dead last at Daytona last week, they had to get points this week. They did do that. They're 26th or 27th in the point standings, 14 points below the cut line. I know it's a long way off, but those matter. So I'm very happy that, if nothing else, we went in the positive direction on the points. But that's all I got positive to say for this race.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like to get a top 15, AJ's been an expert at his career in pulling top 15s. He was doing that when he was with RPM. This just wasn't one of those places where he could naturally make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Look, only one ECR engine had issues in the Cup Series at Daytona, and it was him, and it was early, and could it have been just dumb luck, faulty engine, or something that they did while setting up the car? I don't know, and we won't know because I doubt that they'll be that forthright with the information. And I know, like, look, when we're critical of Kaulig, it probably does us no favors in terms of getting Kaulig guests on here, but I refuse to be one of those people that goes out there and just blindly throws out compliments and praises a team when things aren't going well. Sometimes it's justified, but man, that was one of the toughest races I've watched as an AJ fan in a long, long time. And I'll tell you what, if you like entertaining rants, tune in next week, because if they unload bad and they don't bring him, he doesn't have to win the race for me, but if they can't bring him a car that is consistently in the top 10 and running well next week and have a shot, for me, 3 races in, Trent Owens is in the hot seat, because I seen enough with the Daniel Hemrick story last year to go, yeah, you did nothing. You got a lot of your points by survival, as we seen with the laps completed for Hemrick last year and being able to avoid wrecks. Other than that, he showed no speed basically most of the year. I said I didn't like the crew chief selection at the beginning. Obviously, 3 races in is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but when there are 3 tracks that are highlighted on your schedule for we need to do good at these places because this is where we're good, you better produce results. So I'm going to be watching Coda intently. I hope they turn it around. Not much to talk about in Ty. He did really nothing before wrecking. And then over to SVG, I thought SVG I thought he struggled just like AJ did that first half or so of the race. He kept going between 22nd and 30th. I watched every lap. But when they got him track position, he didn't fall like a rock. He was able to stay up there around the top 10, even led a couple of laps. He was mega impressive once he got the track position. And I was proud of him, proud of the team to be able to race at a place like that with very little experience in a much harder field in the cars that weren't producing the most power. I thought SVG was mind-blowingly good and really robbed out of a 10th or 11th place finish.
Yeah, I mean, this is the highs and the lows of a super speedway race because SVG did not get the finish that he deserved. Ended up falling all the way down to like 27th or something like that, 28th. It was a really unfortunate finish to the race. But you're right, he got progressively better. And I said this a lot last year. Stage 1 was a learning experience. He finished 22nd in stage 1, but probably ran closer to 26th. Stage 2, they made progress. He got up to 15th, right? It was steady progression in those early stages. And then once they flipped the stage, got that track position, both him and Ross and Kyle Busch, those are the three I mentioned in my video last night. They were all Chevy cars that flipped the stage and they held their position. And they were running competitively and they were holding off the Fords. Like, it wasn't, they didn't get their doors blown off. He was considered comfortable in the top 10. Race a very strong third stage there. Deserved a 10th, 12th-ish finish and collect a lot of points, and he just didn't get that. And on the flip side, we saw AJ sneak through and get a finish. So the yo-yo effect of super speedways in a true nutshell right there. And then just quickly on points, I know, again, it's very early in the season to harp on it, but 2 bad super speedways for him, and he's down in 34th. That is a big hole. We talk about AJ trying to dig out of one. Trying to dig out of a hole, 34th in points, minus 24, something like that. I'd have to double check, but it's unfortunate. He didn't deserve that. And now going to a track where it's almost a must win this early in the season, and that's not where either of these drivers want it to be.
Yeah, you hate to talk about must wins at this point. I don't know if he's there yet, but he deserved better finishes at both tracks. I thought he ran better than his finishes show by quite some bit. And yet, this is what you and I were talking about and trying to warn people about last year is you can have a couple of things not fall your way. And despite him running very well in both races, in my opinion, he's 30th plus down in points, like mid 30s. It's bad. You don't want to start there. AJ doesn't want to be 26th or 27th where he is right now. So both of those guys are going to be looking for improvement going forward. AJ didn't deserve the finish, not because of him, but because of the car. And SVG did deserve the finish, and he didn't get it, which is really frustrating. But we'll see what he brings next week. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all to keep up with all we're doing here. Check us out on Facebook, Dingernation, SVG Nation, Kaulignation, NASCAR Nation. Check us out on X at Kaulignation. And we're going to be launching a NASCAR Nation YouTube video or YouTube channel soon. So be on the lookout for that. We'll see you next time. Ciao.